Welcome to Techies Who Made It Spotlight, where we shine a spotlight on the leaders who turn ambitions into impact and challenges into breakthrough solutions. I'm Sheetalal Acharya, and today's spotlight is graced by the presence of an inspiring leader, Tara Mulrooney, the Chief Technology Officer and Vice President of Innovation at Edmonton International Airport. She is a transformative leader shaping the future of one of Canada's busiest and largest airports. With more than a decade of executive experience, she has led organizations through sweeping digital evolution, building high-performing cross-functional teams that turn technology, data, and strategy into measurable business impact. Hi, Tara. Welcome to the show, and it's such a pleasure to host you today and lovely to meet you.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to have a conversation.
Wonderful. Really looking forward to our conversation. So Tara, you have had such a fascinating career in innovation and technology. So what initially drew your interest to get into technology?
Right. Well, actually, I think I was pulled toward technology. I started in finance, and I really enjoyed working with businesses and companies to understand how they could manage their organizations more efficiently. However, finance looks backward. And so I was really interested, how could I actually help give them forward-looking information to make better decisions? Mm-hmm. Which really drove me to AI, to data, and to technology.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Now, as CTO and VP of Innovation at Edmonton Airports, it's one of Canada's busiest airports.
Yes.
So it's a complex ecosystem. So,
yes.
What kind of keeps you motivated every day, or, what's the innovation look like to you day-to-day basis?
Right. Yeah. So I was in energy. I think you're probably aware of that. And one of the really fascinating things about aviation is it is an ecosystem. So we have little control over the entire experience. However, we have influence. So it's a really complex industry to improve. So that really fascinates me. And every day is different. So within an airport, we're not just about passengers and planes. We're about cargo. We're about real estate. We're about other businesses like our parking business, our concessions businesses. So to me, it's this wonderful opportunity to look at many different businesses and how they can all work together to create a really efficient, optimized, and growth-oriented environment.
Mm-hmm. So, Tara, what according to you, we have new emerging technologies coming every day, AI, Gen AI, agentic AI.
Yes.
So how do you see the future of airport changing, maybe in next 10 to 15 years, how the experience of the travelers would look like with all these innovations coming in?
What a great question. So first of all, we're right in the middle of that as an executive team. Yeah. We're doing a series of educational events around the art of the possible and really trying to envision that airport of the future. And so I think there's a few facets to it. One is when we look at airports, they're very capital intensive, a lot of big buildings, a lot of expense to maintain the buildings. And the model that airports have looked at is always we build bigger as we grow, but that's not sustainable.
Okay.
So we're really trying to look at how do we decouple physical growth of the terminal from growth of passengers. So how can we leverage technology to improve flow? How can we make the building more agile? So we don't want to always do construction projects to move a certain airline or to add an airline. How can we use modular build? How can we make the building smart so that it's more efficient, it's more optimized, and again, can help predict sort of that demand and ebb and can be used for different purposes. So those are some big ones. And then when we think about data and information, the ecosystem for aviation is very complicated. Of course, you work with your airline as a passenger and you provide them information. Really, the airport doesn't get a lot of that information. However, we see that we do need to serve our passengers. So how can we share critical information? Now, secure, privacy by design, but to let us know perhaps the people arriving need accessibility assistance.
Right.
So that we can then help, after the airline has supported you, maybe help you right to the curb. Right? So there's a very large data sharing initiative that we're humbled to be leading here in Edmonton on behalf of Canada. And we're working to define a minimum data set for aviation. So this would be what information events should we share, whether it's an airline, an airport, or a government agency. And how can we make sure operations are smoother and then our passengers are benefiting? And then from an optimization of us, as a team, how can we use generative AI to become much more productive? We're a small team here, actually. And, every day, how could we do our work and have an assistant to help us be more efficient?
Right. So Tara, again, building upon the innovation side, right? Like every industry these days is working on innovation.
Right.
So talking about the aviation industry as such, it's a complex ecosystem as we were talking. How do you kind of maintain the innovation versus the operational reliability?
Great question. So the first thing I would say is innovation, although it's in my title, is everyone's job at Edmonton Airport. So really when we think about innovation, you have to first have a problem to solve. It's not just innovation for innovation's sake. And innovation may not have anything to do with technology. So when we look at things, our CEO started with a 1% improvement program. And that was really to encourage everyone in the organization to start to think, what could I do differently in my day-to-day job that could make me more productive, more efficient? Or why am I doing it this way, right? And that's been a real cultural transformation. By nature, I think YEG teams are just very innovative. But we do talk about, okay, for that regulated service, as an example, safety. We're not going to take chances with safety ever, right? So maybe that isn't a focus of innovation. We try to focus those opportunities where we can learn. We may fail, but that's okay, on things that don't have risk to the public, risk to our passengers, and risk to safety. So it's a bit of an organic process. We're also looking at creating more of an innovation framework so that we can actually scale up the 1% improvements to really think of what are those 2 or 3 bigger wins that we might want to work with as a collaborative team to improve what we do.
Well, that's a wonderful answer, and love the way you mentioned that innovation is not just tied to technology.
Absolutely.
It has to grow organically, and it's everybody's responsibility.
Absolutely.
So wonderful. Now, Tara, talking about, our Alberta tech ecosystem in general, or maybe, overall, the world is changing fast with technology. So how do you see the future in various industries, how it's going to change?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've had the honor of working in a lot of different parts of the world, including the Silicon Valley. When I think about Alberta, we are entrepreneurs. We're very good entrepreneurs. And so when I look at, in Edmonton in particular, the startup communities, we just signed a memorandum of understanding with AMI, the Alberta Machine Intelligence Institute. I think we have this great community who can bring really smart people together to solve problems. And I think we need to figure out a way to connect it tighter to business. So often, business folks have no idea how to engage the startup community, have no idea how to get the talent to actually execute on some of their strategies. So I think business should be providing more mentorship. I think we need to encourage our CEOs and our business leaders to get more involved in those communities and think about at least an opportunity a year to engage a startup or to engage students from U of A into the community. And so I think getting business to rally around it and educate them is the key for Alberta to grow.
Absolutely, and that's a great point. Talking about mentorship, are you involved in any mentorship activities?
Yeah, well, so I've been a mentor in my past. It's a big commitment. And so I would say that right now I'm very much focused on supporting our new strategy at YEG. I think as I move toward, maybe a post-YEG world, I would love to do that. But what I will share is the difference between mentorship and sponsorship. So some of the questions you had shared with me are about my early beginnings. I was really fortunate to have folks who I worked with who saw me agree to sponsor me. And that's not just mentoring, but that's, okay, I'm going to help you learn this and being hard on you. Not just coaching and mentoring, but taking a vested interest in helping you shift to that next place. And so I do that. I have someone that I'm working with now who I've committed to sponsor. They don't work at YEG, but to say, okay, here's where you are. How is that working? And how do we help you get the skills, get the confidence, or whatever those things are, and get you here. And actually use my network and my connections to help them do that. So I think that might be a better use of time as you have success in your career, is to pick that one person who really you think has huge potential, and you're willing to actually put a lot of your own time and effort and your own network into play to help them.
Tara, beyond boardrooms,
yes,
we would like to know more about your hobbies, your interests, who are the key anchors in your family.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I grew up in a really large family, 10 children, and so when I think back to that beginning, I had wonderful parents who had great integrity, hardworking, but they believed I could do anything. Probably not with a lot of justification, but gave me this confidence to try things. So I think about that curiosity, that learning, and that why aren't you going to try that? So I think that's a big moment. And then, of course, I've been really fortunate to have a great husband and a wonderful son, and a very patient person who's been married to me for 32 years.
Wow, lovely.
And is my, support and anchor, and really gives me great advice. In fact, was the person who recommended I take the job in Edmonton when I was doubtful. I wasn't sure, should I leave Calgary, etc. So I think about that. And then again, keep, from a hobby perspective, I love the outdoors. I actually meditate, which is important. I read a great deal. I love to travel, of course, a great industry for that. And just making sure that you try to reflect that balance, because I think sometimes we work really hard and we think we're productive, but we have to check in and go, if we're feeling stress, we're creating that stress around us. And so it's our responsibility to set that tone for our teams as well.
That's really great to know about the strong foundation you have from family and family support, Tara.
Thank you.
Now, if you have to give one piece of advice to the aspiring young leaders, what advice would be from you for them?
What a great question. What would I tell myself, right? Be brave, take chances, and keep moving. I think don't overanalyze situations. Don't personalize things. And try to listen more than you speak.
That's a wonderful piece of advice. And, this is also taking me to my next question, which is related to leadership.
Okay.
So what are the core values as a leader that stayed with you throughout your journey?
Great. So for me, it's about authenticity. As you learn and you grow, sometimes people say this is what a leader should look like. You must be stern, you must inspire confidence, etc. You have to be yourself. So I think by being authentic, actually getting to know the people that you work with and caring about them, being a bit vulnerable, that inspires teams to really support you. It inspires team to be honest and ask for help. So I think actually opening yourself up and making sure you're a safe place for your teams to come, that's a critical value for me. And then I think the other piece is stay focused on results too, right? Make it clear, this is why. So not the what, but the why we're doing this. And say it over and over and over again, as many times as you can, so that everyone feels united in a cause.
So Tara, thank you so much for sharing all the great insights with us. And we are almost nearing end of our lovely discussion. And at the end, we have a rapid fire round.
Okay.
That's going to be fun.
Okay.
I hope you're ready for that.
Well, we'll try.
Okay. So your first question.
Yes.
Favorite airport experience, personal or professional?
Oh, what a great question. I would actually have to say, when I was young, I took a field trip to the Queen Charlotte Islands, Haida Kauai in BC, and it was this tiny little airport and the first airplane I ever went on. And I just remember the excitement of getting on that plane, getting to this very exotic place, carrying a suitcase that was bigger than me. And I loved travel at that point. So that actually is probably what sticks with me.
Wonderful. All those wonderful memories in your call. Okay, so next question. A challenge that taught you the most?
Wow, what a great question. I think the biggest challenge I've ever had is really being deliberate about my career. I don't think I spent enough time thinking about what's next and where could I go. And I kind of just kept moving. But I think, when I think about if I had been more deliberate, who knows, what I would have learned. Who knows what could have been. And so really encourage people to spend that time to just reflect and make sure that they're thinking about those next steps.
Lovely. Thank you for sharing that. Next question.
Yeah.
Hidden talent most people don't know about you.
Oh, I won a pogo stick championship when I was a child. Very strange, but I did.
Okay, wonderful. Now everyone knows it.
Yes.
Okay, your next one. This is going to be difficult, I guess.
Okay.
Calgary Stampede or Edmonton's K-Days?
Oh, I have to say Edmonton. I was never a big stampeder.
Okay.
Yeah, I love Calgary, but I was never a big stampeder.
Okay, thanks for that honest answer. The next one. Favorite place for weekend brunch with friends?
Oh, we live in Leduc. I live in Leduc. And there's a little, I think it's called the Footloose Caboose.
Okay.
So it's only open in the summer, but love to go out there with friends or family. It's just this quaint, only in Alberta luncheon place.
Right.
You get in an old railroad car, and you have food there, and it's fantastic.
Lovely. Good to know. And the last question.
Okay.
If you could swap jobs for a day, who would you pick?
Oh, man, if I could swap jobs, I would have to say probably some sort of scientist. And I think about environmental science. I think about how could we help slow down some of the challenges we're facing in the world, but really a meaty research project. That's probably what I would pick.
Wonderful, and thank you so much. You answered the question so promptly and all wonderful answers, Tara. And thank you for being on our show today. It's been lovely meeting you, knowing from you about your journey and all the experiences. And you have been a great role model. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.